Thank you for tuning in to Everything Valves, the channel dedicated to bringing you everything valves. Thank you for everyone supporting this channel. If you enjoyed today's video, please like and subscribe for more valve videos. In today's video, we will be discussing an API 6A wellhead valve hydrostatic testing procedure. This video is intended to give you quick references to the different PSL level testing requirements. What is API 6A? API 6A is a specification for wellhead and Christmas tree equipment. The purpose of the spec was formulated to provide for the availability of safe, dimensionally and functionally interchangeable wellhead and Christmas tree equipment. API 6A hydrostatic testing. The API 6A specification covers various requirements that must be met when performing different PSL hydro testing. Each product specification level, or PSL, will have different requirements. We will go over each one in today's video. Here is an overview of the topics we will be discussing in this video. We will cover testing media, method of enclosure, gauges, testing sequence, testing requirements to PSL 1, 2, and 3, drift test, post-testing, and pressure test results. Testing media. Hydrostatic testing shall be conducted with water. Temperature of test fluid shall not exceed 125 degrees Fahrenheit. Where possible, valves shall be tested on a test rack where ram pressure will not be used, forcing opposite ends towards each other. On valves where it is not practical to test on the test rack due to pressure class or size, blind flanges will be used. Gauges. All pressure testing gauges shall be certified at least every 12 months. Gauges shall be accurate to at least plus or minus 0.5% of full scale range. Gauges shall only be used between 25% and 75% of the gauge's full range. A log shall be kept for each gauge with the ID number, calibration date, and due date. Tags shall be placed on each gauge indicating the following: serial number or ID of gauge, date of calibration, due date for next calibration, and the company performing the calibration. Testing sequence. Pressure testing shall be performed on the fully assembled valve prior to painting. Each valve shall first be given the shell test at pressure specified in API 6A. After the shell test, the valve shall be given a seat test to each seat at pressure specified in API 6A. PSL1 valve testing requirements. Test pressures and holding time shall be in accordance with API 6A PSL1. The charts below are a quick reference of the spec. In this chart, you can see the different working pressures, and here are the body test pressures for each working pressure. So for example, if you had a 216 5K gate valve, the body test will have a 7,500 PSI pressure test performed, and the seat test will have a 5,000 PSI test performed. In this chart, you can see the PSL1 holding times and required tests. For the body, there are 2 tests that must be performed at 3 minutes each. For your seat A, there are 2 tests required at 3 minutes each. And please note, for seat tests, open the valve under full pressure after each holding period. After you have performed your test 1, you will open the valve under full pressure, reclose the valve, and perform the next test. And here is your seat B. It requires 2 tests at 3 minutes each. Acceptance for leakage shall be in accordance with API 6A. PSL2 valve testing requirements. Test pressures and holding times shall be in accordance with PSL2. The charts below are a quick reference of the spec. The working pressures and the test pressures are the same between PSL 1, 2, and 3. However, the holding times and the required tests change. For PSL2, you will have 2 body tests, just like in PSL1, at 3 minutes each. However, on the seat tests, you will now be performing 3 separate tests instead of 2. These tests will be at 3 minutes each and must be opened under full pressure after each holding period. Acceptance for leakage shall be in accordance with API 6A. Test pressures and holding time shall be in accordance with API 6A PSL3. The charts here are for a quick reference. So as mentioned, the working pressures and body test pressures and seat test pressures do not change. The working pressure will determine the body test pressure and the seat test pressure. So as before, if you have a 5,000 PSI valve, your body test will be 7,500 PSI and your seat test will be 5,000 PSI. These numbers do not change when performing tests. What changes are the holding times and number of tests required. So for PSL3, you still have 2 tests that must be performed. However, now, instead of both tests being 3 minutes, your second test must be 15 minutes. Now looking at the seat test, you still have 3 tests that must be performed, but now it is 3 minutes, 15 minutes for the second, and 15 for the third test. And then on your seat B, it is similar, 3 minutes and then 2 15-minute tests. And you must still open the valve under full pressure after each holding period. Acceptance for leakage shall be in accordance with API 6A. Drift test requirements. The drift test is for full bore valves only. After completion of the pressure tests, pass a mandrel with dimensions as specified in API 6A through the valve bore. If the mandrel passes completely through the bore, then the bore dimensions of the valve are in accordance with the spec. Post-testing requirements. Upon completion of the tests and before shipment, all valves shall be drained of test fluid and dried. The machine surfaces shall be coated with a light film of high viscosity rust inhibiting oil. Pressure test results. Only personnel properly trained and qualified shall be authorized to interpret their results. A pressure test report shall be issued showing test results, date stamped and signed by the inspector. Thank you for watching the video. Please leave a comment down below. Drop a like and subscribe for more valve videos. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video.